Hello, and welcome back to MoJo JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, the one and only Powerpuff Girls / JoJo's Bizarre Adventure recap and discussion podcast. I'm Raven.
And I'm Alison.
This week we are discussing the Powerpuff Girls Season 3 episodes Bubblevision and Bot and Scold. But before we start talking about those episodes, just a friendly reminder to leave us a comment or review depending on what platform you're listening on. And if you haven't already, those follow / subscribe buttons. It would be really helpful for us to get the pod out there to more folks. And also, feedback is welcome.
Also, don't forget to check out our other podcast, What We Pod in the Shadows, where we are rewatching What We Do in the Shadows, which is a comedy about vampires living in Staten Island. So you can check us out there also.
Yeah, you enjoy listening to us talk about vampires every once in a while, and you want to hear about some vampires who are a little bit less evil than Dio, that might be your jam. I'm going to start talking about Bubblevision. Townsville is being attacked by a giant ant that eats buildings and cars. The girls arrive on the scene to kick some ass, but as they do so, Bubbles misses every attack in formation by a mile. She even hits her sisters with laser eye-beams by accident. Blossom and Buttercup drag her home, where Professor Utonium does a series of eye exams on her, all of which she fails. I think the one that frightened me the most that she failed was when they put the light on high and it just absolutely filled up the room and she still acted like she could not see it.
Yeah.
I was like, Bubbles, no! Finally, Professor gives her a giant pair of glasses, and her sisters laugh at her, calling her a nerd and a dork. Professor scolds Buttercup and Blossom and says Bubbles looks super. Her sisters say they were just kidding and that they need to get back to town to defeat the giant ant. Blossom and Buttercup fly off, and Professor tells Bubbles to not let anything her sisters say get to her. When Bubbles joins her sisters, they immediately start making fun of her again, calling her Four Eyes and Specs, and saying they were just kidding about just kidding. Humiliated, Bubbles decides she doesn't need her glasses to fight and takes them off, but crashes all through the forest on her way to town, because she can't see jack shit. Meanwhile, Blossom and Buttercup are getting their asses handed to them by the ant and need Bubbles' help, but can't find her. Bubbles ends up on a roof and sees these vaguely Powerpuff-shaped objects. I think they're vents of some kind, and thinks it's her sisters refusing to talk to her because they think they're too cool for her now that she has glasses. Blossom and Buttercup finally find her and beg her to come fight, but Bubbles doesn't want to because they keep making fun of her. She puts on her glasses and they start laughing again immediately, and she's like, see? You're still laughing at me, so she takes them back off. As they're discussing this, the giant ant comes up and grabs Buttercup and Blossom in his pinchers. They beg her to save them, and she reluctantly puts her glasses back on and hits the ant with her laser eye beams. Because of her huge glasses, the beam is greatly magnified and it melts the ant, covering Blossom and Buttercup in ant goo, and now it's Bubbles' turn to laugh. Back at home, Buttercup and Blossom excitedly recount to the professor what happened in town, and Buttercup accidentally shoots off a laser which bounces off the mirror and all around the lab, ultimately hitting Bubbles and breaking her glasses. It turns out that Buttercup's eye beam hit her in the precise spot to correct Bubbles' vision, however, it has seemingly now rendered her deaf. The narrator laughs and says there's always something wrong with Bubbles, and he too becomes too muffled to understand.
Kind of reminds me of the one where they messed up Blossom's hair.
Yeah, it is pretty similar, and then to have it in the same season. It's kind of like I know I always point this out, but in another episode where it's an actual little kid problem, but then superpowers get brought into it, of course.
Yeah.
Learning glasses for the first time, and then everyone makes fun of you, and it turned out to help save the day. That's why a lot of the time I like to draw Bubbles with glasses, and have her on the game Tomodachi Life with glasses as well.
Oh. Kind of seems like it just came on all of a sudden, though, that she couldn't see. That part was a little alarming, that it was that
bad.
It
was that bad, but then also they're just we're only going to give you glasses to help fix that, too. Like the brightness problem, especially. I was like, okay.
I'm not sure why they kept making fun of her because they couldn't defeat the ant. That's why they kind of brought her back to Professor in the first place, because they were having trouble just the two of them.
Yeah.
So they needed her to keep those glasses on. So they should have known that she would be embarrassed to wear them after they kept making fun of her. I mean, I get that they're kindergartners again, but
yeah.
I don't know. The ant, I'm not sure why he was so able. It's just one ant. It'd been one thing if it was like a horde of ants. But
yeah, yes.
Why he was having such a easy time when it was just two of them that he could beat them so well.
Yeah, I guess that didn't make much sense to me either. I don't know, it just seems like their power level just kind of like fluctuates depending on what's needed for the episode. So, like, sometimes they'll be able to, like, whoop ass single-handedly, and other times they need all three of them.
Yeah. And I know she didn't know that the glasses were gonna make her laser eye powers, like, magnified that much, but I don't know. Sometimes they absolutely kill stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just beat someone up or they just put them in jail, but sometimes they just kill the thing. That's a little shocking sometimes, with it being a children's show.
Yeah, especially since they're like kindergartners and they're like killing stuff.
Yeah. It's kind of like the people like, I mean, I think you'd have to sit there for a while, but like with a magnifying glass and you let the sun come through and you like burn an ant. It's kind of like that. I'm not sure how Professor came up with glasses that fit her. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're the right prescription.
Yeah.
I think they would go to an eye doctor.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I get he's like, I don't think he's a doctor. He's just like a scientist. I'm not poo-pooing him being a scientist, but there's just so many different specialties.
Right, yeah. I would think of anything, you'd be like a geneticist or something.
They do have these glasses someone invented, like, I think it's for like poor people in the world where they can just adjust them. I think they're kind of big and thick, but they can just, it's almost like using a microscope or like a telescope, and you can just turn a lever and it makes, like, you can fix your eyesight with them so that the person doesn't have to get like a new pair.
Yeah, kind of neat. I don't think I've heard of them before.
So maybe that's what Professor was using. I don't know. Maybe that's why they were so not cute.
Yeah. They were pretty big. I've written down that they were like Coke bottle glasses, but I wasn't sure if that was the right term or not. So I was like, eh.
I guess so. Like those ones, like the glasses are super thick, and then when the person puts them on, it actually like to other people, it kind of magnifies their eyes. Because with most people, that's not the case, but some people need those really, really, really thick glasses.
So my trivia, according to the wiki, this episode pays homage to the 1954 film Them! About giant ants. The movie was originally going to be in color and 3D, but the 3D camera broke, and supposedly Bubbles' glasses are also a nod to the 3D glasses the movie was intended to be viewed by. And that's the wiki, so I don't know if that's 100% accurate, but I just figured I should probably mention that.
Okay. I'm not sure about that either.
Yeah. Seems maybe like a little bit of a stretch. The glasses part, like the giant ant's fine, but I don't know. However, a 3D Powerpuff Girls episode would be very fun.
Yeah, that could be fun. Okay, so these two were originally broadcast September 15th, 2000. Bot and Scold is episode 7. The girls are at school when the Gangrene Gang bursts in. The girls start to intervene when the gang holds up a decree saying crime is now legal, and it's signed by the mayor. They leave the Gangrene Gang to terrorize their classmates and go to City Hall, where they discover the mayor is now Princess. I guess I should say Princess Marbucks. I just used the princess part. Her dad bought the mayor's job and the city for her from the mayor for a room full of Turkish delight. So they offered him like $1 billion or something?
Maybe even $1 trillion. Yeah, it was like so much money.
And he's like, no. And we could see like Miss Bellum during that negotiation, but she didn't say anything, and then we don't really see her otherwise.
Yeah.
I would think she would try to talk the mayor out of it, but I don't know. He's not the smartest.
Yeah.
Princess said the Powerpuff Girls stopped her from doing what she wanted, but now she is in charge, and if they try to stop her or any crime, she will throw them in jail. The girls leave in defeat and see crime is running rampant in Townsville. All prisoners are set free and people are robbing all over the place. So that kind of seemed to be the main crime that was going on, was just like people robbing each other.
Yeah.
We weren't really seeing like violence, or I'm not sure what other crime we could be discussing, but
yeah,
it was just mostly like someone taking someone's car or robbing a bank or that sort of thing. Some people even take everything from the Utonium household. Back at Princess's fancy house, her daddy puts her to bed with a brick of money. Meanwhile, the Powerpuff Girls are sleeping on the floor. Bubbles gives Blossom an idea by saying if they want to do good, they have to be bad. Princess wakes up for water and has to get it herself. As she walks through the house, we see all the fancy stuff in the house. As she's walking back to her room, all the fancy stuff is gone, including her daddy's cars and trophies. She freaks out and calls the Powerpuff Girls because she's worried about being grounded. The girls say their hands are tied because crime is still legal. So Princess makes crime illegal again. The girls zoom off. They put everything right back in Townsville, including returning the prisoners to jail and wailing on the sleeping gangrene gang. Not sure why that. I think you were kind of upset about that because they were just like...
They were just sleeping on playground equipment.
Yeah, they were asleep. The sun is about to come up and Princess is sweating her dad finding out. The girls return and say they don't know who stole their stuff, but Bubbles giggles, so Princess figures out they did it. But Buttercup says technically all their stuff belongs to the Powerpuff Girls now. Princess, in a panic, begs, so the girls say she has to return the city to the mayor. She balks until she hears her daddy's alarm clock. She gives them the mayor's hat and the key to the city. Her dad notices all their missing items inside. The girls return all the items on their lawn, while Princess makes excuses and blames everything on the Powerpuff Girls. The day is saved.
Yeah. This sort of reminded me a little bit of like The Purge, but like much more like PG.
Yeah. I don't know that the Purge lets loose all the prisoners, though.
No, I don't know that they do. I have only seen like 2 of the Purge movies, though, so I don't know. They probably don't.
I'm not sure why that's what Princess wanted. I know she wanted to do probably whatever came into her mind, but it didn't occur to her that it would affect her.
Yeah. She was just so caught up in wanting to, like, spite the girls.
She could have just made laws specifically pertaining to the Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah.
Like what is it, Citiesville?
Yeah, Citiesville.
Like, you can't use your superpowers. Or the Powerpuff Girls can't do anything to the new mayor.
Yeah, you're like, no one under the age of 7 is allowed to fight crime.
Yeah, it's just something. But I guess that was just easiest for her to just make crime legal.
Yeah. Doesn't really strike me as like the cleverest either, so she's probably just like, the first thing that popped into her head is like, let's make everything legal and screw the consequences. I'm a brat and this is what I want.
I'm not sure why her dad thought it was a good idea.
Yeah, that part I don't get.
I do feel it was one of the only ways to get through to her, though, was to steal their stuff.
Yeah.
Do they not have an alarm system, though?
I guess not.
And I know when she woke up to get water, she was grumbling the whole time, like, if I want water, they should be asking how big of a cup and stuff like that. So, like, it does seem weird because he seems like he has unlimited money to spend, that they don't have servants that spend the night, or she doesn't have her own personal servant.
Yeah.
Because she's super needy to just like entertain her or do the things that she wants while he's working or whatever.
Yes, doing rich people things.
I'm not sure why there wasn't someone, I know it was the middle of the night too, but noticing all these items leaving. I like that the mayor's hat just kind of like floated above her head also.
Oh, I guess I didn't notice that. That's good. That's funny.
Trying to think. I mean, I guess mayor of Townsville, but like she didn't set her sights higher, like to be president, or I don't know. I'm not sure what else her dad could buy her, but
He seems pretty loaded, so probably whatever and how he felt like.
I mean, kind of like the super suits and stuff didn't really give her what she really wanted, which was superpowers.
Yeah.
She could, I guess she tried that with like MoJo though, to get real powers.
Yeah.
Make the professor recreate. But I don't know that it, again, I think we've talked about that before too, that it works on someone who wasn't created in that way. It doesn't seem to last anyway.
Yeah. She wanted to be Iron Man so bad, but she was just Elon Musk. Alright, so I think we're ending our discussion here. Next time we will be talking about the episodes Getting Twiggy with It and Cop Out. Watch those ahead of time before you listen to us talk about them. If you don't want to get spoiled, that is. Just again, if you could leave us a review or comment, depending on what platform you're on, that would be super great. It would be really helpful for us to get the pod out there to more people if we get more reviews. And of course, feedback is welcome. And if you haven't already, it would be super cool if you could also, follow/subscribe to the pod. So until next time, I'll be the roundabout. Goodbye.
Goodbye.